Boston wrestling crowds are certainly a different breed. Energetic, passionate, they don't fucking like you, they are gonna fucking tell you and tell you loudly. I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Dynamite from, yes, Boston, Massachusetts. And really, the white hot crowd for a lot of the show really lent a lot of energy and a lot of passion to matches that in front of a normal crowd might not come across so well on TV. Let me know your thoughts on this show in the comments, please. But the crowd was white hot right off the bat. CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. Right after the announcers bullet point the show, we get CM Pants. He's right back to the pants. Hooray, the pants have returned. Why are the pants making everybody happy? Who the fuck knows? He's also getting these big reactions, which is great because we didn't know if we were going to see him back on any wrestling program ever. And it is really great to see him back. Hopefully they maybe, tailor his appearances and his matches to mean a little bit more like this match against Bobby Fish. So it was CM Pants versus the infamous second Bobby Fish. That might as well be what he is. He might as well be infamous second son. I don't know why he's infamous. Who the fuck knows? Everybody needs a goddamn nickname. But that being said, clear-cut heel, clear-cut face. There were some rest holds as you would expect because CM Punk, even though he is getting back in the groove, he's not the man he was. I mean, nobody's going to be after 7.5 years away. And Fish, coming off of WWE television where he was, injured for about half of that goddamn time. I mean, seriously, look at all the time that Bobby Fish was injured. These injuries are just totally gilling him, if you'll see what I did there. But in all seriousness, Fish, being the guy that has wrestled a lot more lately, I'm not going to say he was necessarily leading this, but he was, doing a lot of stuff working on Punk's knee, and Punk was doing the right things, hit a couple scoop slams, got big reactions there. There was a dive by Punk, but the knee clipping and the knee focus by Fish was very nice. One-legged elbow by Punk. I mean, I saw what they were trying to do, but I don't know how it came across on TV. I was a little bit worried he was going to weeble and he would wobble and he would fall down on his head. Thankfully, he didn't. There, were some nice counters. At one point, a counter into a sliding lariat. Fish looked like he might get the victory, but nope. GTS out of nowhere. From out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. CM Punk gets the victory. He isn't quite able to make the cover quick enough, but Fish kicks out, just after 3 or whatever, but CM Punk gets a victory. And man, the pants, the power of the pants compels him. And then we have a Malachi pre-tape, how he broke Cody down and divided the Nightmare family, and this isn't all of it. He got the fans to hate him. Got news for you, Malachi. The fans are already hating Cody as it is, but facing off against somebody like Malachi Black certainly helped because Malachi has a cool look and cool offense and doesn't have a stupid twat wife that wants to, be in his corner when she doesn't fucking belong there. Brandy Rhodes should not be back on any television program related to AEW in any form or fashion because she isn't worth the goddamn TV time. Everybody hates her as a wrestling character. Some even hate her as a person. I'm happy to just see Cody and Brandy just go off of television and never appear again because really, I don't think AEW even needs Cody at this point. More on Cody a little bit later. And, it's not about, if you think this is about just me getting my shoulders pinned to the mat or about wins and losses, oh, no, this is a bigger picture. The house always wins. The deloused house always wins. MJF comes out to massive boos with Wardlow and Spears and takes on Bryce Donovan, who I'm going to call Bryce Donobuck because he's like a tall young buck, which then again, if you put the young bucks on a box, it would be, the tall young bucks because they're really short. Heat Seeker in like 30 seconds, maybe a minute at the most, and he puts the one finger pin and gets the victory. This is stuff they should have been doing with MJF when they didn't have necessarily programs for him. Put, these enhancement talents they have on Dark and Dark Elevation. They just should have had MJF getting victories here and there and everything, and then build to these programs. It would have meant a whole lot more. He should have gotten his own talking segment, in my opinion. So MJF calls Boston an absolute shithole. He says, cashing checks, banging rats and everything, but I'm not going to do that here because I'd rather shove my junk in a blender because, I'm not going to bang any of the women here, the ugly women. Here's my impression of your mothers. Hotta, MJF, hotta. It's like, God, just so simple shit, but MJF has a great delivery as far as promos. And then he mentions Darby and how Darby hasn't shown up to work, since he got broken mentally and beat up Sting Granddad, and just asshole chants and says, well, he wants the world title after Full Gear. Doesn't matter if it's Kenny, doesn't matter if it's Hangman, he wants the winner. He will become the AEW world champion and achieve his destiny. Thankfully, he is not like Del Rio, but of course, we already knew that. So Sting's music plays. Oh, it's just a ruse. It's just a ruse and everything. And ha ha. He's all happy. And then the lights out. He's like, ha ha, very funny, Spears. That's not me. And then we see this video playing where a guy comes out in an MJF mask to this weird rap concert. I don't know who the hell it was. And I don't know why he was cosplaying as 50 Cent from Blood and Sand, if you know what I did. If you've ever played that goddamn game, wait, it was a Blood and Sand. What was that 50 Cent game where he was in the Middle East for no goddamn reason? I can't fucking remember. But Darby attacks him and puts him through a goddamn table that just appeared on the stage. And it's like, now it's time to break you physically, MJF. And then Sting's suddenly in the ring. And he hits Spears. He hits Wardlow in the face with the bat. I mean, it looked like that was a little bit weird. Like Sting's like, pull up, pull up. And then MJF powers out to the crowd. There's somebody dressed like the Invisible Man or whatever. It's not Claude Rains. It's not Kevin Bacon. Thank fuck, because Hollow Man was shit. It is Darby Allin. What? Darby Allin dressed as the Invisible Man? I mean, he's thin enough. If he turns to the side or whatever, it'd be like Kate Moss in the Family Guy episode. But he attacks MJF. MJF powers out to the stage. He gets his skateboard with tacks on the bottom for whatever reason. They really should have shown some restraint here because he hits Wardlow with it. And Wardlow did post a picture, or pictures posted where Wardlow like had blood coming through his shirt. So obviously that looked pretty deadly. But he says max full gear. Okay, is what is. I'm excited to see this match. I like what they did. I think they did a little bit too much, but I do like what they did as far as like getting, attention on Darby. I almost would have held off on Darby showing up until maybe the Dynamite just before Full Gear, but we're really close to that. I mean, I think we're 2 weeks away from the pay-per-view. So anyway, it was what it was. MJF, panicking on stage and everything, and Shivani's like, go help your guys. Shivani just being a full-on dick. But we're, being a dick back to MJF, that is. Speaking of Shivani's all over the goddamn place. Apparently, they either canned Alex Marvez, or they just said, we'll bring you back when you can learn how to not look like a deer in the headlights, like, rest in peace, Jim Crockett Jr. Jim Crockett Jr. had at least enough presence to know that he could appear on camera here and there. Marvez, I know he's a friend of Tony Khan, but he's not, I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's just not good to be on camera, and I don't know why they don't have Dasha doing some of the interviews. Dasha's bright, bubbly, and she certainly is a better ring announcer than Justin Roberts. Shivani's interviewing Britt, Jamie Hayter, and Rebel, and since Britt apparently ran away from a match with Abaddon, Abaddon, on the Jericho Cruise, which, speaking of, there were some people that appeared on the Jericho Cruise, some Ring of Honor contracted talent that apparently going to have more free time. So hopefully the whole thing about Ring of Honor, and I may do a video on this at some point, I guess they're going to be shutting down after Final Battle, at least, for the first quarter of 2022 and everything, so they can retool and make it a more fan-friendly experience. AKA Ring of Honor is not going to see its 20th year. It's not going to make it to May or June of 2022, whenever they had their first show in 2002. They're not making it to 20 years. It's sad, but every time it's being released from their contract, there is no way that can be a good thing. If they're saying half the roster is released, okay. All the roster, no. Ring of Honor is unfortunately done. It's sad. But hopefully all these talents can land on their feet. AEW Impact, New Japan Strong could certainly use some people or whatever. And they could, they have not been the same since before the pandemic. But realistically, the pandemic did not help them, even though they did some good shit. But back to this. She's going to face off against Abaddon on Rampage. And it's going to be a trick or treat match. It's no DQ. And if Abaddon wins, she becomes the number one contender. Okay. Basically, she'll probably get a shot at, on Dynamite or whatever, or maybe the next Rampage. And we get Sammy Guevara versus Ethan Page. TNT Championship. If Sammy loses, he loses the title, obviously, since it's a championship match, and he is out of the Inner Circle. If he wins, then he can select the 3 members of America's Top Team to team up with Sky and Ethan. At Full Gear, Sammy starts hot with fire and a dive. Now, mind you, when both guys get in the ring, even if there's a jump start, usually you hear the bell ring. The bell didn't ring. I don't know what the fuck is going on there, but Sammy cans Ethan outside, does a dive, hugely fired up. They battle all over the goddamn place. The timekeeper's table falls over. Sammy is pissed. Match finally starts after all that, about 3-4 minutes of brawling. And then Nice is in the front row. Sammy Guevara, almost said Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn versus Tony Nese outside WWE would obviously be better. But Nese versus Sammy Guevara, I'd be all for that. So we get, they're fisting each other while on the ropes, and then we get a backbreaker on the top rope. That was a nice maneuver. Ethan can work. I just think that he's too goofy when he does a lot of his faces. It just doesn't work for me. He comes across as comical when he should come across as vicious. So anyway, Ethan takes over during the break. Springboard cutter, Spanish fly by Sammy. And then shooting star outside. Holy shit, that was an impressive move. I mean, he's lucky. He hit him pretty much with a clothesline. Shooting star clothesline. And then a slam off the top by Ethan. And then all this stuff. It looks like Sammy missed a standing moonsault. Oh, or standing shooting star. Oh no, and then he gets a jackknife cover. 1, 2, 3. Sammy wins. Ethan and then Sky attack, by the way, because no people were allowed to interfere from ringside. They were all kicked out. So it was one-on-one. Okay, and then we get an aftermath, because of course we do. And then Jericho's pyro and music starts playing for at least 30 seconds before he makes his way out there. Of course, Hager, Santana, and Ortiz make it out there. They could have crawled to the ring and made it out quicker than Jericho did, who's fucking washed, fucking blown up. And he just came back from swam back from the cruise, and boy, are his arms tired. And let's hear it for the Judas as they keep talking, they keep singing a song and everything. And what have I become? It's a good thing that they decided to do this and sing for that long, because Jericho needed to catch his breath. Good God, he tried to be funny. He made a comment about how, the only thing you've beaten is yourself in your hotel room. Beat your meat chance. It's going to be a Minneapolis street fight at Full Gear, while Ethan just keeps making goofy faces and everything. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And there we go. So it also, Sammy's going to pick the people next week. I think on Dynamite. Maybe on Rampage. I don't know. So Bryan and Kingston are backstage with Shivani. Eddie talks about taking all the hard work. You say I'm not hardworking. I take Zoloft so I don't, and because I have depression. Also so I don't, get jailed or get locked up, because I'm trying to live my dream. And he storms off. And then Bryan says, that's the Eddie Kingston I want to see and everything. And I'm going to, doesn't matter how good he is, I'm going to beat him on Rampage. So anyway, Shivani with the Lucha Bros and Alex, and it's going to be FTR versus the Lucha Bros at Full Gear. Alex got to say a little bit of stuff. Phoenix, they need to just have Alex cut the promos. Nothing wrong with having Phoenix and Penta get a few words in, but Alex, he's just great as far as their manager. If you're going to have a manager, you got to let him talk. Then we get Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida TBS Championship first round match. Let me just say right now, Serena Deeb is a tremendous fucking wrestler. And if rumors are to be believed, not only has she been dating Marty Scurll, the known creep that he is, the known nonce, I believe, as they say across the pond, but apparently they got married. Now, I don't really give a shit who you get married to, what you do, as long as you're consenting adults. I really don't give a shit. But take a look at all the stuff that happened with Marty Scurll. And people say, the legal age of consent in the UK is 16 years old. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking wrong. I don't goddamn care what country it is, what you think is okay. 18 and 16, I mean, come on. It's like, okay, would that be the only relationship, only thing to happen like that? No. No matter what the country. And I'm not excusing it. One thing to have like a couple of years, okay, or she's 18, he's 16, still wrong. The whole point is he was nearly 30? He was nearly 30 and slept with a 16-year-old? You know what the fuck you were doing. Read up on the goddamn story. So I don't give a shit how great of a wrestler, or how, great of a wrestler Serena is. As good as she is, and I enjoyed this match, Serena's got to make better goddamn decisions, because tremendous wrestler, piece of goddamn shit or empty up here, and doesn't understand that, maybe you shouldn't associate with people like that. So yeah, Marty Scurll can piss the fuck off. Serena, though, she did great shit here. It's just hard to really be invested in Serena Deeb matches when she did this kind of shit, and the fact that she... Why can't people just be smart? Why do you have to date pieces of shit? Unless you're a goddamn piece of shit and you just happen to be a great wrestler, so you happen to get work. That being said, great match. Serena focused on Hikaru Shida's knee. Shida kept fighting back. She showed aggression. There was a figure 4 spot on the ropes, or on the post rather. Good old Bret Hart style. Rolling Boston Crab like Lance Storm. Inverted figure 4 to the ropes. Oh no, there's too much plaque on their hands, and Serena was trying to get her to hit her with the plaque. Come on, do it now, and she wouldn't. We get a poke in the eye and a roll up for 2, and then Shida gets a quick roll up. 1, 2, 3, and she moves on in the tournament, but Deeb then basically beats the shit out of her knee and her with a chair. So what kind of shape will Shida be in when she faces off against Nyla Rose? I'm guessing Nyla Rose beats her, because in all honesty, nothing against Shida. I'm not saying that Shida should not get a chance, but Nyla Rose beating her, give Nyla Rose at least like a couple wins in this tournament or something, or at least like a win over Shida. Just do something. Shida had that long reign. She doesn't need to be the first TBS champion. That being said, good match. Deeb, don't make these decisions and marry somebody that's a goddamn piece of shit like Marty Scurll, who really, even as good of a wrestler as he was, ain't worth the goddamn trouble. And if you're going to be that, you don't fucking deserve to be in wrestling or in polite society. So the refs run in to stop this whole thing. Shivani is with Dante Martin and Leo. I don't care. I like Dante Martin. I don't care. So 10 does an entrance. And then Wild Thing, you make her tart, saying the entrances were longer than the match because Mox gloms 10, World Title Eliminator match, by the way, quarterfinal match. And Mox tears at the mask, bites him. 10 bladed too deep. Too deep because he was just gushing like crazy. I mean, it wasn't quite like Eddie at Judgment Day 2004. He tries to hit some moves and gets a few shots in, but gets hit with a pair of dimes, shift, and 1, 2, 3. Mox leaves. Seriously, I think the entrances were longer than the actual match. Shivani then interviews FTR and Tully. They accept the Lucha Bros challenge, and then the reset button has been hit, and they will win back the AEW Tag Team Championships at Full Gear. I'd like to see that happen. I don't think it will. After the break, we will hear from Cody. Do we have to? Was Brandy there? Thankfully, fucking not. Undeserving twat that she is. Whether you believe me or not, I hear you, Cody says. Talks about, I don't know what the fuck Cody was trying to say here. It wasn't as messy as the Anthony Monster or Go-Go promo, but still, he's talking about what people say, how he will not, the whole thing where he will not challenge for the world title. He could get Tony to break that, but he's not going to. That'd be the easy way. He will not turn. The crowd boos because they want him to turn, because they don't like him. There'd be a reason to cheer Cody then. And put yourselves in my shoes. And then ever say a man say goodbye to his shoes? Once. And my wife is too hot for me. My brother bell to bell is better than me. I can't live up to my dad's name even if I live to be 300 years old. And yeah, okay, it was what it was. Cody then says that it's an honor to stand in the ring with Arn Anderson. I don't know what the fuck Cody was doing. Andrade comes down. Andrade sort of made sense because he was measured in his responses. He says, I see these people don't like you. They don't like me, but I don't care if they don't like me. And says, you make stupid choices like that tattoo, and if you're not careful, I can make you my little bitch. And then the lights go out. Now Malachi, who's barely aligned with Andrade, Olio for some reason, because I guess apparently the whole thing at NXT TakeOver New Orleans never fucking happened. I know it's a different company and everything, but still, I mean, why is Malachi, even if you take that out, why is Malachi aligned with Andrade? Genuine question. Did he pay him? Did he fund the House of Black to get a new edition above? And then Pac. It's Pac in Black. And that's pretty much it. Pac flips off Malachi and Andrade El Olio. And I guess we're getting a tag match at Full Gear. I'll be surprised if we don't get a tag match at Full Gear. Because on Rampage, we are getting Bryan versus Eddie in the World Title Eliminator semifinal match. Matt Sydal versus Dante Martin with, unfortunately, Leo Rush still around. And Abaddon versus Britt. And then we get Dynamite. Cody versus Andrade El Olio. Anna Jay versus Jamie Hayter. I'll be perfectly fine during that match, by the way. And then we get Mox versus Orange Cassidy. We're going to get the Orange Punch Man. The Orange Punch Man. That should be his name now. And, versus the man who is the Wild Thing and makes your tarts sing. Okay, so we get a spoopy set for the main event. I'm just going to say right now, if you think that I hated this main event, you are goddamn right I hated this main event. And I'll tell you why. Because I shit on a whole bunch of stuff that WWE did for their Halloween Havoc special. I thought it was really dumb. And I know, people can like this, that's fine. I'm not the biggest fan of the Elite, but I put over Adam Cole, baby. I put over Omega. As far as his promo last week, I thought it was his best promo in AEW. I put over the Bucks matches before that I've really liked. That being said, comedy garbage, stupid fucking shit. It was Stu Kratos, John Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, he's actually dressed like Bambi, and then Black Bart Reynolds, and Colt was a cutter, and then Uno was some kind of freaking cowboy. It was Uno and Aliens, as I called it. The Elite Busters. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Fuck off. This is it. You know what? And I thought the 2016 Ghostbusters was the worst rendition. You can have fun. You can do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, this is not something that's going to affect the ratings. But as far as something where it's like, oh, let's have fun. Okay, you can have fun with this. I hate it. If I'm going to hate comedy in WWE, if I'm going to hate a lot of comedy in New Japan, I'm going to hate the comedy here. It's going to be divisive. Some people are going to be, feel like I did. Other people are going to like it. It's the Elite. It's Adam Cole, Bay, Omega, and the Young Bucks against the Cowboy Order. And by the way, there is Nakazawa dressed up as a giant Bay, and also the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Okay, so basically it was just stupid shit. It was dumb. It was fucking dumb. Just Silver goes nuts a little bit later. They do, he does his usual stuff. And Silver is a good athlete. We get a ref bump. Considering the referee, Rick Knox, is about 8,000 years old and, probably has a brain that's just nothing but fucking pudding at this point. He's just down forever, while the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is clearly not Adam Page. Why would you think that? We get low blows like crazy. We get the Proton Packs, and, they do a Proton Pack bump, and then they power bomb Colt Boom Boom Cabana, who somehow is not the most comedic wrestler in a match, and that's saying something given a lot of stuff that Colt did, because Colt's very good in the ring. And then Cutler suddenly shows up because he's the horsey, but he can't yell out because he had his face taped shut, or his mouth taped shut. Should have his whole face taped shut, in my opinion. But they do the BTE trigger, and they're like, oh my god, it's Cutler, and then it's Hangman Page, it's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and the Deadeye to Omega, and then we get the Spin Doctor and two Princes, and just go ahead now, pin one of the Bucks, and that's all I gotta say about this. This show was actually quite good. That main event, and I know some people pop for it, fine. Fucking hate it. Fucking garbage. Show, actually, otherwise, for the most part, it died near the end, but there was a lot of good shit on the show. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retland. I'll see you soon.